So I've got it in my ear here. Yeah, I've just been bumping out to the first track while I was getting ready. And you can feel like a bit like a silent disco. You can feel quite welcome to play it in the background. I do say a little bit of parental advisory might be in order. Not every track's naughty, but there might be the odd track that maybe if you're around children or grown folk, you may not necessarily want to play. But you do have the option to skip tracks and things of that manner. Okay, it's a bit of mood music, yeah, for the day. All right, boom. Well, and well. Welcome, kiddies. Wellbeing Wednesday, Sans Woo Woo broadcast. Sans Woo Woo meaning without the woo woo. And with there, just like to say apologies for not being here last week. I had a deadline, and I wasn't able to be here. And while I had a moment where I was torn inside and out and thinking, oh gosh, it's a bit of a letdown. Actually, I was like, just be a bit kind to yourself. Like, you can't be in two places at one time. It's one pair of hands you've got, and you have to prioritize. So that's why I wasn't here. It might not be the last time I'm not here, but there you go. But I hope you're well. Sending like peace, love, and light on this really murky grey day. It's half term, so shout out to all the parents that got their kids at home. Shout out to the parents. Hi, Talika, you all right, princess? Shout out to the parents that have got their kids at home and actually find things for them to do. I have been tormented and tortured by my neighbours upstairs. Okay, by my neighbours upstairs with the beautiful children that have got lead feet running around doom, 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 doom all day. I'm in a way kind of hoping that they continue it throughout this broadcast just so that you can hear. So sometimes when you hear my responses sound a bit terse and sharp, it's because my nerves have been hammered all day like Shango, and Thor has been running up and down upstairs with hobnail boots on. But we digress. So for this week, I was thinking that I'd like to speak about, if you haven't noticed or if you just joined in, Tanika, I'll have to send you the playlist like this then via WhatsApp. Bear with me, Instagram. T, you're on YouTube, innit? So what I've done is, because we can't play music, can you? What I'm going to do is send you a playlist that I've created in YouTube that you can play along if you want. I've been doing lots of messaging today. There you are. So you can have a butcher's at that. It's all good tunes then to do. All right. Where was I? This is it. What? Virginia pouring from the... It's not pouring yet, but it's coming. Yeah, it's going to be dropping out the sky like raindrops. Yeah, so this week, in terms of, for me personally, it was very difficult to, well, in general, brilliant at starting things. I'm an Aries, I'm a spark. I am the spark on the zodiac wheel, the fire, that little spark of fire that burns down the whole house. However, what I struggle with is completing once I've started. That's the bit I find difficult, because for one, I sort of get really bored after it. Like I love starting, and then I get bored after a bit, and I'm like, oh, because then when it comes time to now commit, I'm like, to procrastinate from buckling down and continuing, I'll procrastinate by getting into something else and getting real busy that way. You get me? Hold on, the light is really bad on YouTube. No, but that's going to create shadows, and it. Chop pocket, yeah. You know what it is? More than anything, it's just a duck and all. Hold on, let's see if that worked. You have to bear with me, man, because you know what? The camera person is what? The lighted person is who what? Okay, so you have to bear with me, and it. Yeah, no. So I get really bored, and then I want to just do the next thing because I love creating. Even like That's why I don't really fall in love, or I like the honeymoon stage. Yes, it is. Yo, long time no see, Danny. Even falling in love and stuff like that. It's just like, yeah, after the honeymoon phase, I'm like, yeah, that's dead now. Yeah, what's next? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, it is like that. So in terms of like doing this, having this idea to do this broadcast twice a week, in terms of teaching myself, you're right, King. In terms of teaching myself discipline and consistency, because there are areas in life where it's really needed and it really will help. And at 41 years of age now, it's time to grow up a bit. Any life lessons and in terms of numerology, I found that it's part of my life path and things like that. So it's really important. So in the sort of in the spirit of self-discovery and things of that nature, I decided to go back into my days at Kids Company and um, like be where I sort of really got into and got fascinated with the therapeutic, as in psychotherapeutic practices and certain tenets. And then further on down the line, I went to uni and learned about learning in special needs education and things like that. One of the lessons that I reconnected with was the Gestalt Cycle, something called the Gestalt Cycle. And basically, it's a system of understand the way a therapist will work with somebody and the way they'll understand how somebody's thought process, their action process actually takes place. And it breaks down like this, how the Gestalt cycle, it will make sense in a second. Yes, Marcia, you're right, King. The way it works is this. First, there's a sensation, which that sensation could be I'm hungry or are you gonna make me boss up like that? Are you gonna make me boss up like that differently? Yeah. Don't worry yet. The replays on YouTube, which is why like I go live on Instagram, but I'm also simultaneously recording it on YouTube because due to the fact that the Instagram live's only there for like 24 hours kind of thing. I just for me, in terms of improvement and getting better and what have you, I want to be able to document it to document it. So I've got a copy of it. So in terms of right, where is our Gestalt cycles from back? Because you'll hear me from now on say something often, which is complete the Gestalt. Complete the Gestalt. And why is she talking about Gestalt? It's because a Gestalt is something that's really important to me. And in terms of discipline, in terms of continuity, commitment, consistency, the Gestalt cycle and that kind of method of thinking is really useful, right? So let me just break it down, get my thoughts back in order and complete a Gestalt cycle myself. So the first step is sensation. That could be I'm hungry, or for some people it's I want to draw, for some people it's I want to write a song. Whatever it is, there's a sensation, often a need or a perceived want. From the sensation, the next step in the cycle is awareness. Yo, I'm hungry, I might need to do something about this. Like you're aware that you're feeling or experiencing that sensation. You get what I'm saying? You're aware that you're hungry or your belly's rumbled or, you got itchy feet, you need to go and book a holiday, whatever it is, there's that awareness come. The third part of the Gestalt cycle is mobilization. Now, pay attention or stick a pin, a hook into this point of mobilization because it will tie into what I'm trying to say in a bit. Mobilization is when it's like you feel kind of called to do something about the sensation and your awareness of the sensation, you get me? So for instance, it could be, I'm hungry, my belly's rumbling, I think I should make something to eat, you know, or I think I should go shop and get something for dinner. Yeah, that's the mobilization. The next step in that cycle is then action. So that could be, I'll do myself. Sorry. Listen, for anybody that's just tuned in, I'll pin it in the playback, the comment section of YouTube, or Instagram. Pinned on the first comment is a playlist that you can bob along to if you want to. In the background, it's just mood music, really. Yes, brother. You're all right, darling. Um, So yeah, so that's the next stage is action. I'm feeling hungry. I'm aware that I'm hungry. My belly's rumbling. I think I should go and get something to either cook or eat dinner. I'm gonna go to the shop. That's the next stage. That's the action stage of the Gestalt cycle. Pay attention to that one. It's right after the mobilization one. There's a reason why I want you to just kind of pay attention to those for a minute. Let me finish the cycle first, though, because it's important to finish the cycle. That's why it's a cycle. Okay. So after action is something called the final contact. So in terms of the example that I gave is food, you know I'm a big girl, I love my food, so use what's closest, isn't it? It could be, okay, you've sat down and you've had the dinner, the final contact, the satisfaction element of it. No, final contact, it'd be sitting down and eating the dinner. And then the next stage from that is then satisfaction. You sat down, you've had the dinner, your belly's full, you're a little bit quaff. For those of you that drink, you might have a glass of wine. For those of you that smoke, you might have some kind of puff, puff. For those of you that do neither of those things, it might be a sweet tooth, something sweet for dessert, but you're sitting down, and then there's that satisfaction element of you've gone through these steps, you've taken the action, you've got the final contact, and you get the satisfaction, and then there's withdrawal. It's either, I'm going to sit down, let my food digest, or I'm going to go and wash the dishes or something, because you're no longer hungry, so you're withdrawing from that. It's basically, you wouldn't sit down at the table all the time just eating dinner. Once you've finished eating, or on the sofa or wherever you sit and eat, because everybody's house is different, you would then finish that off. All right, why, Natalie, are you talking about the Gestalt cycle? Because Natalie, you was talking about consistency and commitment and things like that in terms of, you'd started the Sans Woo Woo broadcasts on the Wednesday and Friday. You had something to do, which meant that you had to prioritize and not do it and miss a week. And then normally that's at the point where, because I'm a sparky person and I'm creative, I'll be just like, oh, I can't be bothered. Next. But actually, I had a really strong compulsion to complete the Gestalt. You get what I'm saying? Like, to complete it. And part of the completion of the Gestalt is to come back and finish off, as in the goals that I'm building and the targets that I'm setting for instigating this broadcast in the first place. You get what I'm saying? You know, I'm not just doing it because like attention and things like that. I don't need attention. Like, which brings me on to another thing. I'll get to that in a bit, though. I'll get to that in just a little while. But Gestalt cycles are really important. And why was I saying to hold the mobilization and the action aspect? Because for a lot of people, myself included, when the Gestalt cycles are being formed in our formative years, around our formative peoples, for many people, the Gestalt cycle can be interrupted. And it can be interrupted at any stage, to be fair. But to me, or from what I've observed, the most prevalent place in the cycle for people of my socio-economic demographic, which would be poor working class, is at the mobilization stage, which then has a knock-on effect at the action stage, if that makes sense. So, for instance, using the example of running a business. So, say there's a starting the Gestalt cycle of wanting to start a business. So you'd have the sensation. The sensation could be I'm skin or I'm aware that socio-economically I'm not where I'm supposed to be. Hold on, because ODB just come on the playlist. If you're into music here and you just because of the restrictions, yeah, it's kind of dead. Pinned in the comment section on Instagram, which I will pin in YouTube, is a playlist that I compiled that we can listen to a bit like a silent disco. And I've got my ODB flats here in celebration, and my Donny just came on. Anywho, so yeah, using the Gestalt cycle, complete the cycle. You got the sensation that you want to be able to do something different, and then that maybe the awareness of you don't feel as if you are on a par with your peers, or there's your peers that are interested in what you're interested in that are doing and are not doing what you're doing, or you're not doing what they're doing, sort of thing. You get the sensation and the awareness that you may be missing out or not fulfilling your potential, whatever that may be. All right, boom. So you get to the mobilization point now, which is, yo, I want to set up a business, And this is why I say this is often the area like the where there's an interruption to the cycle. Because if you're around people for whom that's not their motivation, or that motivation may make them feel like, ah, if that person's doing it, then I have to do something, because there's such a there seems to be a prevalent sense of overwhelm with most people, that a lot of people are kind of running away from responsibility, so to speak, and are being overwhelmed and burnt out. To the point of a friend of mine sent me something that by I think it's 2022, I believe it's in the States, I'm not sure if it's here, that burnout is actually going to be an acceptable reason for stepping away from the workforce. So that's the point of, oh, well, if so, this person's going to take on this thing and it's quite brave and it's outside my scope of where I want to go. So they're not going to encourage you to do it. Because often starting something up is not stable unless you've got like a good capital injection of capital to begin with. It's not stable. That's the reality of the thing. That's the honesty of the thing. So for a lot of people, that instability feels unsafe. So with them wanting to keep you safe, they might try and dissuade you that way or interrupt the mobilization process because of their fears around stability. It might be where it might be where while you're unstable, you might be asking them for support, which remember they're already overwhelmed and scared and what have you. So they don't want to be taking on even more on top. Do you get what I mean? So they're not going to encourage, or it might be, oh, well, maybe, that might be a bit risky. That might be a bit this, might be a bit that. There's that interruption to the mobilization. And how many people really get talked out of fulfilling their dream or an idea, or even just attempting an idea for fear of what could go wrong or what have you. Not necessarily their fears either. It might be a partner, it might be a parent, it might be siblings, it might be a group of friends. Like, imagine there's a group of roadmen them and they're doing whatever, and one of them says, no man, I want to come off the road, and set up an accounting firm. What are you talking about? You get what I mean? Like, often the mobilization point for a lot of people in my social economic banding, the mobilization part of the Gestalt cycle is usually where the most interruptions occur, which then has a knock-on effect on the action. Because basically, if you felt mobilized to do something, and then that mobilization gets interrupted by fear, by lack of finances is an interruption to mobilization. Yeah, I want to do this, but I can't afford it. You get me? Or I want to do this social economically. I don't have access to, like, it's a postcode lottery. Some of the support's not there. Do you get what I mean? Like, that's usually where it gets interrupted. So then how much harder is it to take action? So then you're kind of having to go back to the beginning again. You're feeling it, family. Like, I'm just looking in at the thing, you get me? And because people think, oh, like, oh, psychotherapy and psychoanalysis and all them things is boring. But actually, I like to know how things work, including myself and people. So that's why I find it interesting. So often that process and that cycle gets interrupted, and then so it's back to the beginning kind of thing. Because just in life and in general, we well, it's kind of a known thing. Even old people used to say whatever, the lessons you don't learn, you're doomed to repeat kind of thing. Groundhog Day, so to speak. And what's the Avengers? Was it Avengers? And wait, no, man, the one with the time stone, man, Doctor Strange, when he met the dude, man, on the loop, the big, like, planetary bad man, just on the loop, on the loop, on the loop. So he's stuck in that part of the loop and can't complete the gestalt. You get what I'm saying? And then it means that people are walking around in a sense of, so those, and the thing is, and here's the beautiful part about the human experience, about the ghetto roses that blew through the concrete, about the people that don't have the starts in life that other people have. There's a spark. There's like an ultimate, an initial spark that is just so before and after and unmovable, that even with that interruption to the gestalt, the mobilization and often action part of the gestalt, because even if they overcome the mobilization and say, you know, I'm not my story, and even though, yeah, the odds are stacked against me, I'm still gonna try, and I get to the action stage, they can still get chopped, legs chopped off them in the action phases, because yeah, you go and you set the business up, but then if your cash flow is not good, that's going to be difficult to keep a business going, because you've got your certain overheads and stuff. And you know what's so beautiful at the minute, the where I am on the playlist that I pinned for you guys is Far Side Running, and it's just like just perfect for in the conversation. Like, this is what I just want to try this out and see if it works. Like, mud. So and not just like, because I'm not just talking about myself, I'm just talking about in general. Let's change it to something else. We could say weight loss, but that feels personal. You know what it is? It's because I'll talk about myself before I talk about someone else. It could be, all right. No, we won't do that. It could be that you want to buy a designer. You know what? You can tell I'm not into designer shit. Because I couldn't even think of something so outside my sphere. No, let me just get a bit current. Okay, I want to buy a new pair of Jordans. There, I found it. Because even though that's not my thing, let me just make that clear. I don't wear Nike, I don't wear Jordan, because I don't, anywho, I don't wear them something there. Cool. But say if my example of a Gestalt cycle is wanting to purchase and obtain a pair of Jordans, okay, the sensation is, oh, I like those. The awareness is, I like those and I'd want a pair. The mobilization is, I'm going to go, I want to go and buy a pair of those, or I want the money to go and buy a pair of those. And you might be like, the interruption to that Gestalt could be like, what do you think this is? Like, I ain't made the money don't grow on trees, whatever that is. Or, yo, you need Pampers, fam. Like, what you mean, Jordans? You get what I mean? It could be whatever that interruption is. Or it could be like, oh, well, you don't need to wear designer clothes in order to feel important, kind of thing. And whatever the interruption is, but you still overcome the interruption to the mobilization, and you get to the store. But unbeknownst to you, a bill came out on the morning of, and you forgot to check your account. And you get to the store, and the card gets declined. You're like, don't hand it back. Interrupted there, so you're not getting the experience of the final contact or the satisfaction of bopping home in your J's or feeling fresh to death because you feel like you look as good as everybody else, even though you look as good as everybody else anyway. But anyway, yeah, I'm not going to stop preaching. Do you get what I mean? So for a lot of people, it's very hard because then basically when we learn things, especially with patterns, because for me, forget what I'm saying in my very non-expert way, just my sort of working class observation way. Patterns, like, this is my theory, and this is like my ethos, my mantra. Men lie, women lie. Patterns and numbers do not lie. You get what I'm saying? So with that being said, when we are learning things, neural pathways get created in our brain if they are repeated. Yeah. Oh, capability, opportunity, motivation. I love that. I love that. Yeah, them three things need to be there in order, or it's helpful. It's way helpful if those three things are there. Most definitely. Thank you, darling. So wait, me lost myself. Can't keep running away, and I got far side in my ears as well. Right. So yeah, neural pathways. Every time we learn something, so for instance, a child will learn, yeah, when they go into a classroom, it's going, take off your coat, sit down, be quiet. You get what I mean? And because if they do anything else, then they get told off or whatever. After a while, they just learn to go into their classroom, back off their coat, put away their books or whatever, sit down, or it could be like with my boys, it used to be come in, have breakfast, and then start the day. Yeah. So sometimes they'd have come in and they would have had their sweeties and whatever on the way, but because those neural pathways had been etched into their brain, I think it's in the frontal lobe, I think is where neural pathways are housed in the brain. I'm rusty, bear with. I'm not an expert, and Google is your friend. If I remember it rightly, that's how it goes. And so what would happen is, even if they had their sweeties on the way in the morning and whatever, little bits and pieces, young people obviously they like extreme flavors, they would still come in, and if I was making porridge or whatever, they'd still cut some more bagel or toast or whatever they wanted, you know what I mean? Because that neural pathway, that pattern would be come in and have breakfast. Even sometimes if one of them was in a bad mood or something, sometimes it would be just like, instead of toast, just switching it up and making porridge. Oh, actually, I'm not as mad now. Yeah, so don't put that in your belly and shut him out. Maybe you need to burp or something. You got wind. I don't know. But the neural pathways get burnt. So what I'm trying to say is, neural pathways are just neural pathways. They can be positive or they can be negative. So what happens? Okay, so for successful people that, or not necessarily just successful people, for people that are good at completion and commitment and consistency, somewhere when their neural pathways were being formed and in their formative years, they had some form. They either had a caregiver or some kind of figure that taught them that consistency, or for some of them, they were just amazing and great enough to be able to develop it for themselves. I personally don't have it. I come from, I can't say that I come from chaos. I come from chaos in certain areas because my mum used to run a very ordered house, like bar by a certain time, picnic for bar time, bed by 6 o'clock, and all them things on a school day. Obviously, weekends, holidays, you could stay up, but dinner was on the table by a certain time. So there were certain things that was greetings, Empress. There were certain things that was routine in our house, like breakfast. Like I remember some mornings getting beat because I didn't get up in time for breakfast because my mum had got up and made breakfast. You get what I'm saying? Like certain things in that respect. And then that part of me when I left home, I was rebelling, like, yeah, I don't have to do that. Then I won't. And then I burnt a new neural pathway, which wasn't conducive to consistency and all them things, to be fair. But in other ways, there was chaos in terms of, because it can be in different areas. For some people, they might be like fresh to death, but you know them people that's always fresh to death, but they ain't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. You get them people, so they're consistent at being able to be fresh, but they're not consistent in maintaining a home, or they could be consistent in finding a partner, but not consistent in saving. Do you get what I mean? Like it can be different places. And I guarantee you, if you go back into their story and if they're honest enough to talk, you'll find whatever their Gestalt cycle is, at some point during the motivation and the action stages, that's where the interruption is. And it's so, I just find it fascinating and interesting. To the point of where I didn't even think I could talk on that shit for 31 minutes, but I have. And yeah, so in terms of, and that was just a very long-winded way of explaining about why it was important for me to come back on this week, yeah, and just, say, listen, I've made a commitment to myself to improve my consistency and my just consistency, continuity, discipline that I really struggle with. Like in that respect, like the left brain's not firing at all. Very right brain, sparky, 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 woo, 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 woo. But I need to be bringing it down into the root chakras to make it work in real time. And so it might just seem like, yeah, of course, it's supposed to come back, but trust me, normally that's when I'll be like, oh, nah, next week, and then next week, and then I'm doing something else. So it was important, like I had to make myself sit down and do this today, because, and actually while doing it, I'm feeling the satisfaction phase. So it's like a mini gestalt. You get me? And then the withdrawal would be when I like finish the broadcast. You get what I'm saying? However, what it's doing is it's helping to burn a new neural pathway, because it's helping to combat the interrupted mobilization part. Because really and truly, when it comes to mobilization, you know what? There was one person that when I said I'm not coming, they made a point of saying no, like, and it tickled me so much because I'm an empath and I got the vibe in which it was said. You get what I'm saying? And they wouldn't know really, but like that was like, imagine if everything's pitch black and there's a tea light. You get what I'm saying? Because right, this is right. I will get to my point. So before I was saying about art not needing attention, please don't ever get it twisted that I'm doing this because I want to be looked at. To be truthfully honest, I'm an introvert. That's the real. I'm so laid back in the cut, like I don't even like. I just can't. You get what I'm saying? Like I'm not really innate. You get me? Like I don't do things that get attract. As a matter of fact, and I've been told this by good friends that know me, I will do things to repel people. Like, that's how much I don't need attention. I'm not doing it for that. What I am doing it for is to challenge myself to think of ways that I can add more value to my business, and not just to my business, but to people who may interact with my business. It's like I want to be able to add more value and be more of service, because if I'm of service, people are more likely to interact. So, and I say that to say this, you know, the fact that I don't need attention. Like, I'm really, like, in that respect, I'm very secure in myself. Like, I'm cool, I'm good. So I'm saying that to say this, me no there as no pin up or nothing feel upon like no ornament. Me and no walking trophy or like. So what's really, 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 really incredibly, I find it strange and weird. Not from people that don't know me, but people that I have sat down with, shared a meal with, had a drink with, worked with, been to their house, or they've been at my house, they have my phone number, or we have interacted with each other, looked each other eye to eye. What I find incredibly strange is when there's this feeling of just staring at me and not saying anything. It's like this. That's what it feels like. The whole point of me being here is about interaction, because me just talking don't mean shit. Greetings, sis. Me just talking don't mean shit. The interaction between you and I is where the meaning is. So if you just stay like just looking, what it can be just like you're looking and you can't be bothered to comment or what have you or anything like that, right? And it's not for everybody I'm talking. I'm only talking to who I'm talking to. You will know who you are when you hear it. But when you know me personally, you know me. We have spoke on the phone. We have been together, worked together, whatever. Like, we're in real time, like, touch. No, you get what I mean? When I see you seeing me, but you don't say anything, you know what it's like? I'm in the sunken place and you're just like this. Do you get what I mean? Because how weird would that be if I came on like, I even feel like, Natalie, control your mouth and only communicate. Use your mouth to communicate what it is that you're trying to communicate and forget the rest. It feels like I'm in the sunken place when that's done. I don't mind. There's people that I interact with, but it's for people that know me and just stand there staring, especially if we've been in the same room together, like physical touch distance. I find it strange, fam. I'm just letting you know that I find it strange. And it's like a one off would be fine, but when you constantly do it, it's weird. Greetings, sis. You don't know my Empress. You're all right. Good to see you. I still want to catch up with you about Outwitting the Devil, man, because that was just on point. That's just taken my thinking to a whole nother dimension, to be fair. So yeah, like when it comes time to for doing that, I think it's strange. Like even sometimes when I think, oh, I'm tired or my brain's a bit frazzled, if I've come and had a look at what you're doing, 9 times out of 10, even if it's to leave a heart or to click like, just to let you know what, I saw you. You will see on your notifications that I saw you. Let me just do some kind of authentic communication to say that this is a two-way process. Otherwise, it's just fucking weird, fam. And that's me being really honest, sans woo-woo, because I can only tell the truth. You get what I mean? So I just needed to get that out of the way, not be angry about it. And it's not an angry thing. I'm just explaining from my heart. It feels like I'm in the sunken place or like zombie land or like Madame Two Swords waxwork. When you do it, it's strange. Like it, and I find it'd be like if you were talking to the world. Do you think I would just stand there and stare at you and you wouldn't hear it, or a good there? You get something like so. Yeah, done. You know what? It's interesting. In the sis, in the comments, the pinned comment is a playlist I created in YouTube. It's just like mood music, some tunes that I like because we can't play music on these broadcasts, any. We can have like a silent disco and people can play along. At the minute, the artist playing was funny enough. It's a guy called Dave, and the song's called Question Time. And like the youth goes in, like I'm not gonna lie, like I don't really know much about him, but just one day my wonderful niece who continues to inspire and surprise me. One day I just says to her, it's when she was visiting one day, and I says to her, look, no judgment or anything like that. Let's swap headphones because we both had our headphones in with our tunes playing on our phones. I was like, swap headphones, no judgment, not even language or anything, just to kind of get her to open up. So boom. So I had my headphones at my phone and plugged it into hers, and she's done the same. I was playing Loyalty by Kendrick Lamar and Rihanna, and she was playing this tune, Question Time by Dave. And I'm listening to this you talking, and I'm like, wow, like, you know, it really gave me the same kind of energetic vibe as like Tupac, Me Against the World, the last verse, that kind of inquiry and observation. And actually, I have a voice and I can talk about these things without losing any of my street cred or anything. And just, I remember really feeling galvanized that in amongst all the little twerky tunes and all the young people music and all the not pronouncing things right and the funniest tunes them, yeah, which some of them might like, I can say are not bad, right? But yeah, I'm old in it. Like, I'm 41, so obviously there's some generational education that I need. Yeah, I have to humble myself. I need to be educated. You get me? Because I'm sure their music sounds to me like what my music sounded like to my older heads when I was the same age. Boom, bam, and see it there in it. But I was just very inspired, as I always am with her, to be fair, that my niece was listening to this kind of music in and amongst, like, because I'm like that. I like my ratchet tunes. Like even this playlist, you can hear there's certain ratchet tunes in there, but there's certain tunes as well that's gonna make you think, oh, it's gonna be a bit raggo. You get me? Like, and we really I always said when she was born, I was looking forward to the woman that she was going to grow up to be, and I'm beginning to see that now as she turns 16, and I've got my shotgun, click clap, ready, ready. You get me, sis? I've got click clap, like I swear to that one, I would definitely, man. I would go to war over that one, seriously. I swear, but she's amazing. She's actually amazing. I was looking forward to meeting her, and I'm really loving who I'm meeting. Like, I find her inspiring. I find her motivating. Sometimes, even when I feel like giving up or whatever, I just have to think about her and what she'll think of me, and that helps me to feel more motivated. Talking of that, and talking of the young girls, hold on, Mr. Howard Jones, because I love this song. I'll tell you what, even though I'm not really interested in marriage and things like that, too tough. No, will you get me, sis? If I ever get married, yeah, the first, song to dance to, because I've got a few songs which I just love the words, and I think they actually really encapsulate and tap into what I feel love is. And one of them is "What Is Love" by Howard Jones. The words to the tune are deep, and because it's like this kind of old school kind of breakers kind of mellow. The snare drum alone, man, is crispy. Like, but the words, man, the words are beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The words, man. I love you whether or not you love me. I love you even if you think I don't. Sometimes I find you doubt my love for you, but I don't mind. Why should I mind? Why should I mind? What is love anyway? Does anybody love anybody anyway? My type of love, and the right type of love. Hey! Them ways. I just had a silly moment. Oh, I caught myself by accident. No. Okay. All right, bring it back in. Bring it back in. Sis, what you have to do is the link that's pinned in the comments. Let me know if you can click it, or I'll send it to you. I'll post it on YouTube or something. I'll just or inbox it to you. But what I did was I compiled a list, like it was a playlist for today's show, and the songs in there. But it's called "What Is Love" by Howard Jones. It's an old school 80s jam, but to me, not. It's a bop. Before I forget, talking to the youngins, one of my one of my beautiful nephews that I've collected along the way, Tafare, is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful spoken word artist, just an all round amazing person that I've got the privilege to know. Oh, give thanks, sis. Give thanks, sis. Yours too, you know. Take one to know one, and sis Mo, you know. Trust me. And I look up to you every. Um, Tafara, he sent a beautiful spoken word piece to me today, and which is why I'm actually rocking my braids them just so, and I'm not putting on. I'm not put because I was gonna. Are you gonna wear your hat? Are you gonna wear a scarf? Are you gonna wear a bonnet? I'm wearing none of them. If you don't like it, that's what your eyelids are for. Blink really slow. But he sent me a spoken word piece about my hair, our hair, and I need to you need to go and follow him actually. But I need to basically tell you about for those of us that live in London, there's an event tomorrow, the 30th of May, 2019, called the Rebirth of the Griot. I believe you pronounce it Griot, even though it's spelled Griot. But we can popularize the language if we want to, because it's not ours. But Rebirth of the Griot, stop it. And it's Thursday, the 30th of May, at Tottenham Community Sports Centre. That's 703 High Road, Tottenham, N17 8AD. Starts at 7 p.m. Artists on the 8. That's Tottenham Community Sports Centre, 703 High Road, Tottenham, N17 8AD at 7 p.m. Rebirth of the Griot. Open mic, spoken word. My beautiful nephew's going to be there. And to be fair, today was a really grey day. And actually, like just on a random one, because I hadn't heard from him for a while. And so at the blue, I see a message from him. I see a message. I read. Like, you know, some people like the message on WhatsApp, you like, I'll get to it in a bit. With him, I was just like instantaneously, yo, Far Rise message, like, wow, God. It's gonna be, you just know it's gonna be something up for. And today was really great, and the last few days have been trying to rain or what have you. And that was after like having a few days of sunshine, so it really felt like a drop for me personally, because I'm a sun child. So when I seen the message, it's like, oh yeah, spoken word piece, and he's also like put an introduction on it, just like basically saying, if you're listening to this, just know you basically is somebody that like, okay, that's listening to it kind of vibe. So just listening to him speak and being an empath, just understanding that his thought process in that he has taken the time to make sure, like, all right, my darling, have a beautiful evening, right? Wait, the afternoon. Have a beautiful afternoon going into evening. Enjoy, little one, yeah, and just give loves and hugs and kisses and have a beautiful, blessed night, man. We'll catch up soon. Thanks for Daya, yeah? I was pennying his thought process and just the fact that he'd taken the time to let to speak, heart speak, you get what I'm saying? And I was just like, wow. And then listening to the poem and just hearing his personality and his quirks, like, so there was the words and the words had meaning, and he's got this thing called slow it down, like, and when he slows it down, yeah, he'll flip it every he'll flip it, he'll flip it for real on some but in a beautiful way, like, and it just, even just talking about it, it's just making me smile. It's the soul smile, you get me? So that was really nice. And then so obviously I asked him if I could share it because I think it's important to share these things. And I've catch a vibe. Somebody else can catch a vibe, you get me? So I shared it about the place and that. So I've shared it with Tigger, and Tigger's just an amazing another nephew. And he Tigger and I always connected over music because for me he's got really mature music taste. Like, he sometimes he surprises me because he's only just turned 17, but we bond over music, put it that way. You get what I'm saying? So he's just turned 17, I'm 41. I've known him since he was uh, uh, 14. Yeah, them man. He would have just turned 17. 14, I've known him from, and we was connecting on round tunes since then, to be fair. Like, it's just got like, man was like talking about Nas and that. I'm like, huh? Go on, young spam. Yeah, yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when his peers is talking about young folk, you get what I'm saying? Just to put it into perspective. You get what I'm saying? Like, man's talking about Nas, I'm like, hmm. And then I did show him my cousin and that, and he's like, hmm. And also, I'm sure he follows. I'm sure he follows Slim Blue on Instagram, and I don't think he follows me. You know, when you kind of feel away about it, but you don't feel away at the same time because you know, so you know that certain man and certain spirit them connected, and you just like, yeah. Anywho, I'm being silly, but I sent him the poem that Farah sent me, and we just had a lovely conversation again. Um, and then, because again, creative person, and seeing this amazingly gifted, because he's a gifted artist, like visual medium artist, very talented. So I was thinking, oh, Sparky Pants. Now I'm thinking, oh, because he's responding to just creative people, just like woo 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 woo. It's like creative sort of tornadoes. So I'm just like, yeah, well, you know what? This could happen, and this could happen, and this could happen, and it's like, this looks really good. I might try it after exams. Thanks, Matt. Like, so it's like he's so grown up in himself, and it just like taking the time to say that he appreciate this, giving good ideas even when I don't ask, and like, and I was like, it's always. I said that I always get mad creative when I talk to you, and he's like, you're always like this now. I'm not surprised, and I was just like, wait, when did you know that I was sparking like that? And it just like, it just really tickled me, just in the way that he just responded with so much maturity and humility. And then it gave me a deeper insight again, which was that they pay attention. Even when we think they don't, they pay attention. Even because how many days did I go home thinking, I wonder if I'm even getting through to them. I wonder even if they even care. Do you get what I mean? But to the point of where you can turn round Yeah. After leaving school, so all right, I'm gonna watch how it comes back to but after leaving school, reconnecting and being able to in such a just mature and matter of fact way, like you could see like the big man in him, like he's just telling me about myself, and I'm like, right, my little nephew's going, did you get me? And then to completely complete the gestalt, basically it's really nice in the fact that while working with Tigger and that group of youths there, yeah, I did in a way complete a gestalt. I completed one gestalt, which was I was able to finish working with them due to burnout and what have you, and I did it. I didn't just like leave, or I didn't just disappear. I actually said, "Yo, I'm gonna be out in a bit, and I'm gonna be out by this time, and I'm gonna have to finish off, even though it's gonna rip the heart out of me." And on my last day, like I did fall, and people's asking me, "Why are you crying?" And I'm like, why don't you know why I'm crying? You get me? Like, you don't know that I love these kids. You get what I mean? So, but it was important to complete the gestalt and withdraw. What's amazing is emotionally, for me, the gestalt wasn't complete because I was gone about a couple of terms before they'd finished school, which that would have for me been a completion of the gestalt. So that was like for me a gestalt interrupted. But the beautiful thing is there's now a new gestalt form. So it's how to complete that and finish that in a healthy way. And to me, what that speaks of is our interaction that's through choice now, not because they have to, because like they don't have to now. Do you get what I mean? Actually, that's creating a new neural pathway. That's giving me motivation to be more consistent and committed and disciplined. Because now, as much as they are grown young people, like young men and what have you, and young women, for my bubbers, my princesses that I'm still in contact with, actually, I still have to be kind. But I'm getting my countdown, so I'm going to say to you like this. This is your big sis, Natalie. Wellbeing without the woo woo, Sans Woo Woo broadcast. Wellbeing Wednesday. Drink water, mind your business, walk and live. Peace.